Yeah. Okay. Right. I'll explain. I think some people are going to be horrified about what I'm going to show here, but it's all very. When I went from the old website where it was like I had like all the pages in Markdown and I had like a single router and all the requests went through this router and it sort of grabbed the Markdown, brought all the page together. That seemed like the smart way to do everything, and I think that's how a lot of frameworks work. Just everything goes to the router, brings all the individual components together, builds it, presents it. But I didn't like how, I don't know, I felt like it felt a bit more complex than I wanted it to be. So when I went to this new design, I thought, all right, I want to make this as absolutely as simple as possible. How can I make this page load in a way that makes sense to me, that's easy to work with, without caring what the best practices are or whatever? Like, how can I make this simple? So what I've done is basically every page every page has like an include at the top to include, the top part, and then every page has an include at the bottom, and then, the contents then in the middle. So you have every page. Let's go to, what's this, the change log. If I show you I don't think it's down there. Let me show you the change log. So all the content is just in the middle, and then you just have a head, including a head file at the top, and then a footer file at the bottom. So all of this sidebar and search bar is in the head file. This middle section is just, this middle part of the page. And then I have the footer then including everything after it. So what that means is every time I make a new page, I've got to include this head part and footer part, which, isn't really done, I don't think, these days. But it just means that all I got to do is like, it's still flexible, because every time I want to make a change to the layout, I just, replace the code in the head part, or the foot part, and then every page then is, unique. And then from here, I can just like any page. Anyway, see if I can edit it. I don't have to. I can just do whatever I want. I can say like, "Hello, Eric." This might look terrible now, but there it is.
Nice.
So that's what all of this stuff. Just goes around that, and I can put whatever I want in here. Then I can use any PHP I want, and it makes every page feel like fresh. And I'm not tied into like a framework or a system where I'm restricted in what I can and can't do. The only downside is like I've got these includes on every single page, but you can just use search and replace that. And if I need to change anything around here, for me, that is by far the simplest way to make a web page for me and make it dynamic, because I know where everything's being brought in from the head. I know what goes above the content and what's below it, and it's like a nice flow then of code. So I don't really get stuck. I don't know, like, where's this code coming from? Why is it there? Why is this happening now? So yeah, that's the sort of every single page works really, just like a PHP include at the top, and then a PHP include at the bottom, and then a content in the middle.
I'd be curious to see how the code looks like for one of those interactive tools. So let's say, for example, the generating a dir signature or whatever.
Okay, yeah. Let's try and find something really simple to show you. Maybe the SHA-256 one, but they all use the same sort of structure, and then they all use HTMX. Yeah, it's just two parts really. I'm using HTMX, and so let's get SHA-256. So yeah, every time you make a request here, this data gets sent to the SHA-256 file here, and then it will. And there's some stuff at the top. It's like a little class here. It'll just grab the data. This will just get grabbed, and then I'll process it. I'll put do some checks and stuff. Checks of whatever, and then work out the results, and then store the results on a variable, and then and then you just got a HTML form then, and then it just populates the form. So again, it's very simple, very, very linear. It's all one single file. Again, it's probably a horrific way to do it, but for me, it just makes sense, because I can keep all the code in one place, and I can change it really easily. So yeah, so literally the request comes in, I grab it using PHP, manipulate it, build the result, and then construct the form, and then put the data into the form and the results. So and that's how they all work. This is a very simple example,